want to share with you today a website that if you are one of those who are determined to find your ancestors, your people, your history, your lost, hidden ancestry, I need you to go to politicalgraveyard.com. I have found some of my people who have been either, uh, you know, on the Senate. They are responsible for, some of the Civil War, some of the legislature that has been put in place, since the founding of this country. And, as I've been studying, the history of so-called African Americans, the Negro, the Indian, American Indian, the indigenous of America who are melanated. I wanted to just continue to um, just build a case to prove that, we were representatives for the U.S., Constitution. We were part of the building of this country. We were on the boards. We were, presidents, and we were governors, and we were mayors of, these different cities that we know today. And because our history was erased, you have to really be careful when you're reading up on this since things have become digitalized. I remember when they were going digital, I was making sure that I was copying handwritten documents, things that were written in their, in ink. They before digital records, of course, everything was handwritten. So those were the most important things to me because you can catch the mistakes, the errors when you transfer the information into digital. Of course, there's going to be some discrepancies, there's going to be some mistakes, some letter changes. The people who are recording and copying things from the actual handwritten content to the digital. So I want you to be careful when you are researching, and be careful also for things like this. When they try to put a picture with a name, I want you to be careful because, once again, this is not a real photo. It is basically sketched, and they can put pictures next to anybody's name. Now, we might go past it because we think, oh, that's a white guy, that's not my people. But I have learned that because they have hidden so many things, I totally ignore the picture because this can very well be a melanated person. Okay, early days, Virginia, every state on the East Coast, you must be very careful. Also, California, so East and West, and South. So the border coast, I find that there's a lot of African Americans, so-called indigenous melanated people who held these positions. Okay, and I want you to see what they were associated with. And I love this website because it goes through, and I just happen to be on politicians who got in trouble or were disgraced. Now, I chose that because most of the time when they were taking over our country, a lot of us were already in place. So they kind of scandalized a lot of our leaders. They brought trumped up charges on most of them to get them out of office, to take over, the Constitution and the laws of the country, the legislation and things like that, offices. So this is why I went to this area, because we have bribery, we have sex crimes, and it basically tells you how many of these people were convicted of these crimes. Okay, now some of these people they may be Jews. Okay, and once again, we know that our people were Jewish, so we cannot you know assume that these people are of European descent. Okay, because I was very surprised finding people who were originally from here, or they even came from the Caribbean. Okay, the different islands over in the Caribbean. So, once again, family, I wanted to share this website with you. Um, you can find people, you can find your people. Now, I started, how I came across this website is I started with, okay, you can see, you can look in cemeteries. I actually started with a website called, I think it's called names.com, last names. And I was looking up different names. So, and sometimes it'll send you to if they held offices and which state, which position they held, things like that. So if you want to find your ancestors and possibly link, you know, different political offices, because if you find yourself, part of the fight for justice and truth, 9 times out of 10, your family members were doing the same thing. Because what is the saying? What's the saying? The fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree. So you have to think about it. Whatever you were doing, however your passion is in this day, your family was more than likely in the same area, the same field of study, the same fight, the same battle. Okay, so I was just kind of going through names. North Carolina, I found a lot of my people originating over there and in the Midwest, some down south. Okay, so we spread out, of course. Okay, so I'm just kind of hitting the back button from what I've been doing. I wanted to really share with you guys the things that I've been discovering on my own journey to find my people. And I'm going to share some of the ways that the ancestors has actually been contacting me on this journey, and they've been verifying different ideas that I've had, different, I've been getting a lot of instinctive downloads that I know to be true. So they kind of verify things for me if I have questions. Okay. So depending on your last name and what your ancestors were doing at some point, and a lot of these records only go back to, I found probably early as 1760s, somewhere in there. So you can even go back further, but basically it's basically telling you how they switched up your name. So you could be last name Ascar, and this is just an example, but you have to also look at these different derivatives of the name Ascar. Okay, you may have Mascarel, Mascari, Mascaro, Oscar. So remember etymology, okay? When you are looking into your people, you cannot just assume it's just one way that you spell your name. Okay, let me see if I can find the actual. Here it is, book name. So it's called House of Names. House of Names. Okay. Um, and it's a very cool website. You just basically type in what you want. Let's say your last name is, what's the common name? Smith. Okay. Common name is Smith. It basically pulls up your family crest, coat of arms, and you must study about the family crest and coat of arms because it links you to your origin. It links you to basically the beginning of your name, where your name derived from. Okay, and most of us can go back and we can see. And then once again, you may get discouraged because you're saying, "Oh, this is England, um, northeastern England." And remember, there were melanated people in England, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now with this website, it's going to show you more. It goes all the way back to 1100s. So this is like Smith is one of the most common names in America. Okay, and we know John Smith messed with Pocahontas. And remember, before the melanated indigenous began to take on these names, we had tribes, we had clans. We basically did not go off of these European English names. So keep that in mind. But once you encountered these immigrants, okay, you started to be described by the Europeans from these names. Okay. The one names that you can know that are yours is names like Baker. What else? Brook. Um, Things that describe nature. Things that describe the land. Turtles. Trees. Flower. Depending on the occupation. Cleaner. A cook. So those are the type of names that you will definitely know that are indigenous because you are described by your occupation in most of these labels. Okay, early labels, early labels. It wasn't until you were either married, intermarried into different families that you started to take on, your mother's maiden name as well as your father's. And most of the time when we're finding people, we see that they either have, they'll have like Robert Fitzgerald Smith, meaning that Fitzgerald was the maiden name of your mother and Smith was the maiden name of your father. So this is important to know, guys, when you are digging and you're researching your family. So 2 websites I have shared, House of Names. Okay, type in. I've been having a blast doing this. It also goes into, if your people were in the convicts record, okay, it'll give you the different information. And I was actually looking for family members who were shipped to Australia. And I'll just share some of this with you all. Some people that I've traced back, I found that they were shipped off to New South Wales for prison. And for example, 1804, Alexander Brock, his crime is unknown and he was sentenced to 7 years. Um, and he left the United States on March 13th and he got there in August. So a lot of these records show the same route, how long it took, their crimes. Most of these people did not have any crimes listed. You see no record. We have burglary here. We have receiving. I'm not sure what that even is. So you have a lot of bogus charges on indigenous people who came from Canada, America, North America. Okay, so don't get confused when you say, "Oh, well, my ancestors were supposed to have been slaves." Well, think about how far and wide the slave trade went. They were removing Aboriginals from America and taking them to Australia, putting them into the schools, whitewashing their history, their culture, and just basically, you know, genociding a whole culture of people who originated from America. Okay, so then you're looking at Irish convicts who went to South Wales as a punishment. Okay, so you'll look and see your last name. You'll see some of your people. You can see some people went for stealing, robbery, shoplifting, breaking in a house. Okay, and it's telling you what they were doing, if they were married, single, their jobs. And I'm not sure the remarks, the CF, whatever this says, you would have to dig deeper into that. But listen, I want to share this with you guys. For those of you who are serious about um, what you're doing and what you're looking for. Okay. I started out looking up, old maps, and it led me to the House of Names. Okay, House of Names is where you should go. All right. And start your journey now, guys. It's very important to know where you came from, who your people are. I'm going to guarantee they will assist you on your journey into finding out the past and what they have accomplished in this country, what they fought for. Um, and it's been very emotional for me discovering that some of my people were definitely political prisoners. They were imprisoned for bogus reasons in Australia. And I just want, I just want to know the truth about what happened. Why are these things being hidden? And what is the motivation behind hiding my history, my life, my people, and their contributions? Okay, so once again, learn about the coat of arms. Goes all the way back to the Moorish Empire, medieval times. This is how people found a way to trace their lineage and their family histories, and ultimately led back to a famous or infamous Moor who, founded most of this country, this this nation, and the world. All right. So you have been tuned in to another Dark Matter readings. Okay, new perspectives with Majestica Melanin. Tap into your history. This is another way to heal. This will be part of our ongoing series of things that I'm discovering on my journey to be complete. I hope you enjoyed, you learned something. Join me next time.